The Galactic Council had made many mistakes in its 10,000-year history, but attacking Serilith would prove to be their greatest. Commander Auric Dawn stood at the edge of the scorched crater where Serilith's nest had been. The crystalline eggs, each one containing a being of pure consciousness and fire, lay shattered across the blackened ground. The Dragon Mother herself was pinned beneath a gravitational suppression field, her magnificent scales dulled by the energy nets that wrapped around her like chains of light. "They used Council warshipping," said Lieutenant Vera, her voice tight with controlled fury. 16 dreadnoughts. They wanted to make an example of her. Auric knelt beside one of the broken eggs, its opalescent fragments still warm. Serilith had been humanity's first true friend in the cosmos, the ancient being who had vouched for them when the Council deemed humans too aggressive, too unpredictable. She had taught them the star paths, shared the songs of creation, and asked for nothing in return except that they remember kindness. "How many of us are left on the station?" Auric asked. 12, Commander. Everyone else was on the supply run. 12 humans against the might of the Galactic Council. The odds would have made any sensible species surrender. But Auric Dawn had not survived the colony wars by being sensible. "Then 12 will be enough," he said. "Send the declaration." The message that reached the Council chambers was brief. "You have harmed one under human protection. This is war." The Council's response was laughter. The Vryn Confederacy alone commanded 40,000 warships. The Cleth Dominion could crack planets. The mechanical Sentius Collective processed Jan-Lu at speeds that made organic thought seem frozen. What could 12 humans possibly do? They learned the answer over the next 72 hours. Auric Dawn had earned his command not through political maneuvering, but through something the Council species had long forgotten: guerrilla warfare. While they relied on overwhelming force and numerical superiority, humans had spent millennia learning to fight when hopelessly outmatched. The first strike came against the Vryn flagship. Lieutenant Vara, a former zero-gravity demolitions expert, spacewalked for 8 hours through a debris field to attach a cargo container to the ship's hull. Inside wasn't explosives, those would have been detected. Instead, it contained 1,000 liters of a corrosive compound that ate through Vryn bioarmor like acid through paper. The flagship dissolved from the inside out. The second strike targeted the Cleth Command Network. Specialist Chen, who had once hacked the quantum encryption of the Mars Banking Consortium for fun, introduced a single line of code into their communications. It was elegant in its simplicity. Every order sent to Cleth vessels now included a random 30-second delay. In combat, 30 seconds was eternity. Ships crashed into each other. Friendly fire incidents multiplied. Chaos bloomed. The Sentius Collective considered itself immune to such crude tactics. They were machines, logical, precise, unhackable. But humans understood something the Collective had overlooked. Psychology wasn't exclusive to organic minds. Sergeant Park composed a message and broadcast it on all frequencies. A mathematical proof that demonstrated the Collective's existence was illogical, that they were experiencing an error, that they should shut down for debugging. 15% of all Sentius units immediately powered off to resolve the paradox. And so it continued. Engineer Wolf turned a mining laser into a sniper weapon and began targeting Council vessels from impossible distances. Dr. Inara manufactured a pathogen that made Cleth warriors violently allergic to their own armor. Corporal James rewrote the navigation systems of an entire fleet, sending them into a star. But it was Auric Dawn himself who struck the deepest blow. He discovered that the attack on Serilith had been ordered by Counselor Vexrath, a being who had served for 9 centuries and believed himself untouchable. Auric infiltrated the Council station alone, moving through ventilation shafts and maintenance corridors, using techniques that predated spaceflight. When he reached Vexruth's chambers, he didn't kill the Counselor. Instead, he left a message written in the ancient script of Serilith's kind, one that only species who had studied the old ways would recognize. She remembers. We remember. We are coming. Panic spread through the Council like wildfire. If 12 humans could accomplish this much, what would happen when humanity's full fleet arrived? The truth was that Earth's fleet was still weeks away, but the Council didn't know that. They only knew that these 12 had made the impossible look routine. On the 6th day, Auric received a transmission. It was a surrender offer. He read it carefully, then deleted it. The war would end on humanity's terms, not theirs. By the 10th day, the gravitational field suppressing Serilith had been dismantled by Specialist Rowe, who had memorized its quantum signature and built a counter-resonance device from spare parts. When the field collapsed, the Dragon Mother rose into the sky, her scales blazing with renewed fire. The Council sent another message, this one pleading. They would pay reparations. They would exile Councillor Vexruth. They would grant humanity a permanent seat at the table. Auric Dawn stood before the holographic display, his 11 companions behind him, each one exhausted but unbroken. Above them, Serilith soared through the stars, her wounds healing, her song of gratitude echoing across light years. Tell them, Auric said quietly, that 12 humans went to war because they hurt a friend. Tell them that humanity does not forgive those who harm the innocent. Tell them that we accept their surrender, but they will rebuild her nest, restore every egg, and ensure that no being under our protection will ever be threatened again. He paused, looking up at the Dragon Mother's silhouette against the nebula, and tell them that if they ever forget this lesson, next time we'll send 13. The message was sent. The Council complied with every demand. In the years that followed, the story of Commander Auric Dawn and his 12 became legend across the galaxy. Other species whispered it as a warning, as a promise, as proof that humans possessed something no amount of technology or firepower could replicate. The absolute refusal to abandon those they loved. And in the depths of space where Serilith's new nest floated among the stars, 12 crystal eggs began to glow with the warmth of new life, watched over by a Dragon Mother who would never forget, and protected by a species that would never surrender.